Unlock the single powerful insight that older women master to effortlessly attract top-tier men. Transform your love life today.
Okay, let's unpack this. We got some really powerful source material today that honestly challenges one of society's most devastating myths. Just think about that feeling, hearing a sharp, successful woman, maybe 45, say something like, I truly don't know if I'm worth it anymore. It's this insidious cultural belief that a woman's value, in the dating market just sort of expires after 40. And that's what we're here to shatter today.
It really is a pervasive narrative, isn't it? And it's so profoundly limiting. Our mission in this deep dive is really to isolate that secret difference, the thing that allows mature women, and this is regardless of age or like physical alteration, to attract quality, conscious partners and build genuinely solid relationships.
Yeah, we're bypassing all the standard seduction advice here. Our sources center on something internal, a revolutionary shift, moving from emotional scarcity to emotional abundance. It sounds simple, maybe, but when you actually put it into practice, the results seem pretty radical. The big question is, what does that shift actually look like, day to day?
Well, this is critical because that cultural narrative, it creates this massive pressure cooker, right? Why do so many women believe they have to dramatically lower their expectations or accept emotional crumbs, basically, or feel like they should be overly grateful for just any attention they receive? They've really bought into what we call the scarcity trap.
And the numbers, they're quite shocking when you look at them. We found this finding from the Harmony study. It showed 68% of women over 40 believe they have fewer chances of finding a quality partner. 68%. That's a huge majority operating from this place of anticipated loss.
Yeah, that statistic is painful, yeah. But the key insight here is how this anticipation becomes a kind of self-fulfilling proxy. When you genuinely believe deep down you have fewer options, you start projecting an energy of scarcity. It's that mix of fear, maybe a little desperation, and this willingness to compromise on your core needs. And ironically, that kind of low-frequency energy, it actually repels the very secure, high-quality men they hope to attract.
So the fundamental difference isn't about trying to look younger or figuring out dating apps, is it? It really boils down to this. Are you living asking for love, coming from that place of scarcity and need? Or are you living offering love, operating from a place of abundance and, well, completeness?
That's the entire game changer.
Right.
Exactly. If we look at it as an internal recalibration, you see that the shift really moves you out of that neediness and into your own personal power.
Okay, but how does this scarcity versus abundance thing actually play out, like in real life? Our sources gave us this really fascinating contrast between two women, both recently divorced, navigating the dating world. So first there was Carmen, 43. She would come to every session just completely fixated on external validation, always decoding text messages, agonizing over, what did I do wrong, trying to adjust herself constantly to be more attractive. All her energy was focused outward, just desperately trying to read and please the other person.
Right, trying to fit a mold. And how did that contrast with the other woman, Anna?
Anna was 49. And the difference was stark. Men didn't just date her, they courted her. Like serious, mature men who were really clear about their intentions. And when she was asked about her secret, Anna gave this incredibly profound answer. She said, I am not looking for someone to choose me. I am choosing who I want to share my life with.
Wow. That mindset, that's the internal compass of conscious love right there. Anna had clearly rooted herself in self-regulation. She knew how to distinguish between that emotional hunger, that sort of frantic need for external validation, and the authentic, calm desire for a real connection.
And this leads us straight to a really crucial distinction. It seems to be what separates women in thriving relationships from those who get stuck cycling through toxic dynamics again and again. It's the difference between having requirements versus having standards.
Exactly. And our source material defines requirements as usually springing from the ego. They tend to focus on outward stuff, achievements, appearances, what looks good on paper, But standards are far more powerful. They come from the soul, from your core. They focus on what you genuinely need to feel safe, respected, valued, and fundamentally at peace in a relationship.
Can you give us an example? What's the difference in practice?
Sure. A requirement might be something like he must own a specific type of car, or he has to earn X amount. Very external. A standard, on the other hand, is more like, I require consistent, reliable communication that respects my boundaries. See the difference. Standards are those non-negotiables that protect your emotional well-being, your ecosystem, and that clarity. It's instantly appealing to men who are also looking for a secure adult relationship.
Okay, so let's flip this. If we look at it from the male perspective, what is this maturity signal to them? We should probably talk about this idea of the authenticity radar.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. After years of experience, dating and relationships, mature men often become incredibly skilled at detecting when a woman is, well, playing a role or trying to be some kind of edited, perfect version of herself, just designed purely for approval. That radar is definitely switched on.
So those subtle signals of desperation, like the anxiety to please, being way too flexible, maybe overlooking uncomfortable behavior, they don't attract, they actually repel. They just scream insecurity, don't they?
They absolutely do. Men who are seeking a secure, self-assured partner, they're looking for consistency, integrity. They want to connect with the authentic person, not someone who's constantly shape-shifting to try and meet what they think the other person needs. And this brings us to what might just be the ultimate superpower these women develop, emotional immunity.
Wait, let's pause on that phrase for a sec. Immunity to rescue projects, that sounds
Yeah.
pretty intense, almost like a complete neurological shift. How do the sources explain this supernatural capacity?
Well, maybe not literally supernatural, huh? But it feels that way because it's such a profound shift. It means that mature women, usually through navigating past heartbreak and gaining wisdom, they develop this almost instinctual ability, a detector, really, for emotionally unavailable men, or those guys who are subtly looking for, like, a free therapist. And crucially, their nervous system just doesn't activate romantically anymore when they encounter men with obvious, unprocessed emotional baggage.
So they stop confusing that deep neediness in someone else with a genuine potential for connection.
Precisely. They grasp this fundamental truth. You cannot love someone into completeness. It doesn't work. You can only love someone from your own place of completeness. So their criteria shifts entirely. They start looking for men who are actively taking responsibility for their own growth, their own stuff, not guys who are just passively waiting around to be rescued or fixed by a partner.
That wisdom, it really is about converting those hurts into discernment, isn't it? And pain into personal power. That defines this kind of attraction. Our source material actually condenses this maturity into 4 fundamental characteristics, pillars, really. These define women who build these deep, lasting relationships after 40.
Right. And it's important to remember, these aren't rules from some dating book. These are habits, ways of being, born from lived experience.
From wisdom. Okay, let's start with pillar 1 then. Magnetic presence without pursuit. How does that actually play out?
So these women, when they're with you, they are emotionally present, fully engaged. But, and this is key, when they're not with you, they are completely busy with their own life, genuinely. Their energy is inherently focused on their passions, their projects, their goals, their friendships. They're not sitting around generating internal drama or, obsessively checking their phone, waiting for validation.
Right. That abundance, it kind of invites a partner to participate in a rich life that already exists, rather than expecting the partner to become the central, obsessive focus of her existence. That sounds like an immense draw.
It is. Then pillar 2 is their transformed relationship with time. This is fascinating. They start viewing their time as life energy, basically, and they only give it to those who clearly demonstrate appreciation for it.
I love the real-world example that came up here. Like, before, a woman might wait hours for some vague callback, right? Or accept last-minute cancellations trying to be overly understanding or flexible. But now, they protect that resource fiercely.
They recognize that consistent disrespect for their time isn't something to analyze or fix. It's simply a sign the other person doesn't value their presence, period. This isn't about being inflexible or difficult. It's a foundational act of mature self-respect. They just don't waste energy trying to teach someone basic consideration anymore. They simply remove the opportunity for disrespect.
Okay, moving to pillar 3, long-term relational vision. This seems vital for avoiding disappointment. The idea that they fall in love with realities, not potentials.
Yes. They learn to look far beyond, occasional grand gestures or beautiful promises. Words are easy. They observe the daily patterns. How does he handle stress? How does he treat his family or service staff? What decisions does he make when he thinks no one important is looking? That clarity protects them from falling for some idealized fantasy man that they've created purely in their own mind.
And isn't it kind of paradoxical that this very clarity actually makes them more attractive? Because men might feel safer being authentic, knowing they aren't being measured against some impossible fictional standard.
Absolutely. It fosters trust. Which brings us nicely to our final and maybe the most sophisticated pillar 4. mature emotional reciprocity. This means they have entirely stopped measuring love by how much they are willing to sacrifice or endure. That old narrative is gone.
Instead, they measure it by the balanced energetic exchange. There was that patient quote that summed it up perfectly. Before, I thought love was giving until it hurts. Now I understand that true love is when giving feels natural and receiving also feels natural. There should be this inherent peace, right?
Exactly. Peace over drama. They're seeking compatibility in the direction of growth. They understand partners will change, people evolve, but they look for someone who views personal evolution as a shared opportunity, something exciting to do together, not someone who sees growth as a threat to the status quo. They seek stable peace, having moved past the drama they might have once mistaken for passion.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you, the listener, tuning in? The true superpower of female maturity seems to be this incredible ability to convert every mistake, every heartbreak into like surgical discernment and real personal power. Every relationship that ended wasn't a failure. It just served to educate them.
And listen, this isn't just self-help theory floating around. There's research, like the 2018 Journal of Personality and Social Psychology study, confirming that women who exhibit high self-confidence and profound emotional independence, they are perceived as significantly more attractive for long-term relationships. And that finding holds regardless of age.
Because their energy, it just changes everything, doesn't it? They shift completely from what our sources call demonstration mode, always trying to prove they deserve to be loved, to evaluation mode, calmly, confidently, determining if the love being offered truly enriches the already rich life they've built for themselves. That shift, you can feel it. It's instantly perceptible.
Yes, they've developed this advanced relational radar, you could say. It allows them to distinguish with real precision between a man who is merely physically present and one who is truly emotionally available. Between someone just seeking easy company and someone genuinely seeking a life partner to co-construct something beautiful with.
Ultimately, the most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself. That sounds cliche, but it seems fundamentally true here. When you honor your needs, trust your criteria, that internal integrity becomes this kind of irresistible light. It just naturally filters out the noise.
Right. So the invitation here isn't really to keep asking, when will I find my special person? But maybe to shift the perspective inward and ask, am I honoring myself right now, today, in how I allow others to treat me?
If you found this deep dive useful, and maybe these 4 pillars of mature love resonated with you, please do subscribe. We'd love to have you join us for more. And let us know in the comments below, which of those 4 characteristics do you think is maybe the hardest one to fully master? We really want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, drop a comment before our next deep dive.